Let me ask you something honest. When was the last time something small, completely music derailed your entire day? Maybe someone said something that got under music your skin? Maybe a plan fell apart. Maybe you woke up and your mind was already racing music before your feet even hit the floor, and instead of handling it, you just spiraled. That's not music weakness. That's what happens when the mind hasn't been trained. And I want to talk to you today about what it actually means music to train it. Not with motivational quotes, not with a morning routine you'll quit by Wednesday, but with a real 14-day process, music, rooted in Stoic philosophy. The same philosophy that helped Marcus Aurelius run the most powerful empire in human music history while dealing with plagues, betrayal, and war. The same thinking music that kept Epictetus mentally free even while he was physically enslaved. These men weren't born unshakable. They built it music day by day. And so can you. The first thing music you have to understand, and I mean really understand, not just nod at, is that the Stoics were not trying to feel nothing. That's the biggest myth music about this philosophy. They weren't emotionless robots. Marcus Aurelius wrote openly about exhaustion, music, frustration, and grief. Epictetus talked about how hard it is to watch people you music love suffer. Seneca admitted to fear. What made them different wasn't the music absence of those feelings. It was that those feelings didn't get to make the decisions. That distinction, music, right there, is everything. Write it down if you need to. You are allowed to feel the storm. Music, you are not required to become it. So here's how the 14 days work. Think of it in three music phases. The first 5 days are about awareness. Days 6 through 10 music are about resistance, and the final 4 days are about anchoring. Each phase builds on the last one, and by the end, your music won't just feel different. You'll respond differently automatically. That's when you know the training is working. Days 1 to 5. Music awareness. The Stoics called this watchful attention to your own inner world. Most people go through their entire lives, music, reacting without ever once asking why. Something happens and they explode, music, or collapse, or go numb. During these first 5 days, your only job is to catch yourself in the moment, not to fix anything, not to judge yourself, just to notice. Music. When you feel your chest tighten, pause. When you feel the urge to snap back at someone, pause. When anxiety creeps music in before a difficult conversation, pause. One breath, 1 second of space, music between stimulus and response. The Stoics believed that inside that music 1 second lives the entirety of human freedom, and they were right. Here's a simple music practice for these 5 days. Every night before you sleep, write down one moment where you reacted music without thinking and one moment where you caught yourself. Just those music, two things. You'll be surprised how quickly the second list starts to grow. Days 6 through 10, resistance. Now things get harder. This is where most people quit self-improvement programs, not because the work is impossible, music, but because it gets uncomfortable. The Stoics had a practice called voluntary music discomfort. Seneca would go days wearing rough clothing and eating the bare minimum, not because he had to, but to remind music himself that he could handle it. The point was to shrink fear by proving music it wrong in small doses. You don't need to do anything extreme. But during music these 5 days, I want you to deliberately choose the harder option at least once music each day. Skip the social media scroll in the morning, music, and sit in silence instead. Have the conversation you've been music avoiding. Say no to something you only agreed to out of fear. Of disappointing music, someone. Take the cold shower. Wake up earlier. Each small act of voluntary resistance sends a message to your nervous system. I am music in control here, not my comfort. And the mind starts to believe music it. This is also the phase where you begin practicing what the Stoics called the view from above. When something upsets you, you mentally zoom out. You see yourself from a distance. This small person in this music, small moment in this enormous, ancient, indifferent universe, not to make your problems feel meaningless, but to return music them to their actual size. Most of the things that consume us on a Tuesday music afternoon are things we will not remember in 10 years. The Stoic music mind knows this not just intellectually, but in its bones. Days 11, 14. Anchoring. Music. You've built awareness. You've built resistance. Now, you, music, need to make this permanent. The way you do that is through what Stoics called music, the evening review combined with the morning intention. Each morning music of these last 4 days, you spend 5 minutes asking yourself one question. What is within my control today and what is not? Write the music answers down. Be ruthless about the second list. Traffic, other people's music opinions, the weather, outcomes you can't guarantee, all of that goes on the not mine list. Then, music, let it go. Not because those things don't matter, but because carrying them is simply not your music job. Your job is the first list. Your choices, your effort, music, your character in every interaction. That's it. That is your entire jurisdiction as music, a human being. And when you start living like it, the weight you've been carrying starts music to lift. Each evening, the review. Ask yourself 3 questions. Did I respond or react today? Did I stay within my own circle of control? Is there someone I treated with less patience than they music deserved? No self-punishment, just honest inventory. The Stoics' music were ruthlessly honest with themselves, not out of self-hatred, but out of respect. They believed that an unexamined life wasn't music, just a wasted one. It was a dangerous one, because a mind that doesn't know itself can be controlled by anything. By day 14, something will have shifted. I won't promise you'll be Marcus Aurelius, but you will notice that the music things that used to knock you sideways take a little longer to land. You'll notice that pause getting wider, music, that 1 second of space between what happens and what you choose to do about it. You'll notice that your inner voice sounds less like music panic and more like a quiet, steady kind of knowing. That's the unshakable music mind. It's not a fortress that nothing can touch. It's a person who has trained themselves to stand firm, music, even when they're touched, to feel the full weight of life without being crushed by it, to look at uncertainty and say, music, I don't control this, but I control myself, and that is enough. The Stoics spent their lives proving that it is 14 days, music 3 phases, one commitment to stop being at the mercy of everything, music that happens to you, and start being the architect of how you respond. It starts music today. It starts with the very next thing that tries to shake you. Music, let it try.